Is the mic on? It is.
Yeah.
I did it.
Also have it down there. It should be-
All right. Yeah, I see that.
There's also a portable mic right here, so you can walk on stage
Oh, because I'm gonna be walking and dancing. No.
if you want. That's fine.
Okay. No, I'm good.
Just mention, tell us about its way.
I'm just short. I feel like I'm too short. Thank you. Thank you. I tried to go like this, but it went. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it fell. That's fine. All right, it's fine. Good morning, Sacramento City College. Buenos dias. Am I loud? I'm good. All right, go ahead and come on in, find a seat, and we will go ahead and get started with this year's Fall 2023 Convocation. So once again, I want to welcome everyone to Sacramento City's Convocation for Fall 2023. This is community. Today, we are honored to have as an anchor for Convocation, we are going to have Vice President Tellis Sudds, and he will act as our MC. Unfortunately, I think all of you have seen the traffic going on 50 and traffic just all over as school is starting. So he's running a tad bit behind. So I will be your substitute MC for the time being. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Carla Rojas. I am math faculty, as well as one of your co-coordinators for the Staff Resource Center this year. So again, I'm subbing in. Picture me up there. So this is community. So for our interpreters, right, we're going to go ahead and click on interpretation button on the Zoom toolbar, and you're going to select ASL, American Sign Language, on Zoom. There is a Q&A session for our Zoom attendees, but there are no chat. Unfortunately, we didn't have the bandwidth with our staff to support this feature. Our interpreters and live captioning are available on Zoom. And we will make sure that all QR codes and links after the convocations are available for everyone on the slide decks, in case you want to share it with anybody who may have missed any of today's events. Okay. So you want to go ahead and use our live captioning again, and you can go ahead and click on the CC, the link on the toolbar. And we're going to have a lot of QR codes for our in-person attendees, but also for our online attendees. And again, all of this will be available afterwards. I got a little ahead of myself. All right. So Sac Republic and Hughes at Hughes. So we are going to have a great event. We have the Sac Republic will be playing at 7:30 p.m. at Hughes Stadium. And if you're unfamiliar, that's our stadium here at Sacramento City College. Let's give it up. It's pretty cool, right? That's pretty awesome. So they are playing August 26th. And so we have one entry per employee. And so we're going to be using the QR code here on the side. So go ahead, everybody, pull out your cell phones, grab that QR code, because this is an event you don't want to miss. Support Sac City and Sac Republic here on our campus. All right. All right, so we are going to have random winners with a random name generator, 15 pairs of tickets, right? And they will be made available by August 21st by noon, okay? Gratitude. I think it's really important to always give credit where credit is due. And so Please be understanding that this event is made possible by so many individuals, so many volunteers who work in some capacity to support us across campus, whether it's our facilities, whether it's the faculty, our admin, or our classified staff professionals. So I really just want everybody to take a second and, let's give a couple seconds to just really think and thank all of the individuals that have been here to provide us with a great evening, a great morning today. Thank you for that. We will be honoring quite a bit of them today. And so I ask that for those of you who are here in person, that we be as loud as possible because their work is not going unnoticed. And we want to, especially for our unsung heroes across campus, that may even be working nights, making sure our campus is beautiful, that we recognize them and really thank them for all that they do. So I have the honor and privilege to introduce Ayaka Shili Gales Torres, who will lead us in a land acknowledgement. Aya is the student assistant at the SCC Native American Student Success Center. Aya, are you here? There you are. Come on up.
Hello, Mateo, all my relations. We acknowledge the land currently occupied by Sacramento City College as the traditional home of the Maidu, Miwok, and Nisinan people. These sovereign people have been caretakers of the area since time immemorial. Despite centuries of genocide and occupation, the Maidu, Miwok, and Nisinan people continue as vibrant and resilient, federally recognized and unrecognized tribes, bands, and rancherias. Today, we honor and recognize our Maidu, Miwok, and Nisinan tribal neighbors for their contributions as the caretakers of the Sacramento Valley and honor their sustained existence. It is with their blessings and continued guidance that Sacramento City College seeks to provide an accessible, equitable, and supportive institution of learning and experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aya. And I thank you for your contribution and for coming up here. It's not easy being in front of so many people. So let's please give her one more round of applause. Now I have the honor and privilege to introduce a friend of mine and an amazing worker with both the Ashe and Emoja program. KT is going to be leading us in a libation, as well as Taylor McClare and Malik Johnson. All right.
No, it's good. Good morning, Sac City. How's everybody doing? We're good? Ready for another semester? Who else is going to be busy this weekend getting their canvas ready? Besides me. Yes. All right. Well, as mentioned, my name is Ken Times. I serve as the coordinator and counselor for our Emoja Sabah learning community. I also provide counseling support to our Ashe Center. Yeah, Ashe. I'm being supported today by one of our superstar students right here.
Give me an S. I'm just joking. Good morning, Sac City. My name is Malik Johnson. I am a Emoja student, also an Ashe peer mentor. And right now I'm pursuing my degree in interdisciplinary studies with an emphasis in social and behavioral sciences. Thank you.
All right. How many people do you see in the picture? How many people do you see up here? 2. All right. So one of our peer mentors, Taylor McClure, was scheduled to join us today, but unfortunately she's under the weather. So if I could have everybody just say, get well, Taylor. Should have taped that. Huh?
Yeah, we should.
All right. She'll never believe we did it. So today we had a chance to look back at some of the history of our school. The pictures outside and the pictures at the beginning of the slideshow were great. Yes, did you all get a chance to see those pictures outside? So looking back at our history, heritage, and tradition, it's just as important as us looking forward and helping to prepare the next generation for part of our purpose in Emotion Ashe is to share traditional practices and concepts in the hopes of providing students with a pathway to African-centered education. Pathway to African-centered education. Pace, I think I like that. I like that, right? All right. That's you.
KT and I have honored of sharing an African ceremony tradition of pouring libation as a way of honoring our ancestors. This ritual is meant to give honor and show reverence and respect and recognition to our ancestors, on whose shoulders we stand on, and to honor elders in whose shadows we walk in. Now it's your turn.
Thank you. All right, we pour libation to honor the past so that we may learn from it. We use water because water has no enemies. We use water to freshen the road of our ancestors, freshen the road that our ancestors traveled to be with us here today. We use water as a symbol of the continuity of life to purify and to nourish our souls. Traditionally, we would pour water or palm wine into the soil beneath our feet. But today we'll use this trusty plant, which is the libation plant. That's why it lives so good. It'll represent life in all of its forms.
So the way that this will go from here is that each of us will offer an affirmation, and we'll ask that you respond verbally by saying Ashe. Ashe? That was great.
They got it.
Yeah, they got it down, like y'all experts. Ashe means so shall it be, or to speak into existence. It often used as an affirmation like amen, like you go to a church. It also is this spirit that our center is called Ashe. Y'all see it?
Right.
We'll conclude by providing space for you to call on and honor your ancestor.
Right, so the first affirmation is we pour libation for our fellow students, staff, faculty, and administrators, and for those that we have lost, loved ones, friends, and colleagues. Let us say,
We pour libation to those yet unborn, our future leaders, our future heroes and heroines that will continue to struggle to be, tongue twister, will continue the struggle to be a free, proud, and productive people, those who will not let our legacy and our efforts for progress die. Let us say Ashe. Awesome.
we pour libation to the spirit of this gathering and for our colleagues and for what our colleagues have done and will do for our communities. Let us say, so in closing, I'll briefly open the floor to allow you to shout out the names of your ancestors, those who've encouraged and supported you throughout life. We pour a collective libation for all those we mentioned and thought of. After that libation, we'll respond collectively with 3 Ashes, and I'll get it started. First name I want to put out there is Rosalie Agbanag.
Ashe. My father, Carl Johnson. Ashe.
Okay. All right, now it's your turn. Just shout them out. Ashe. 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 And with that, we'll end with 3 ashes. Ashe. 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 Welcome to the fall semester. With that, we say Asante Sana. Thank you very much. What's your name?
Sorry, I'm a lot shorter. Let's give it up one more time for Katie and Malik. Next, we're going to be joined by Sophie Wheeler. Sophie Wheeler works in operations as a temporary classified sustainability coordinator for Sacramento City College. She has her master's in environmental science and is passionate about making our campus and our world a better place. Outside of work, she enjoys traveling and live music. One day, she hopes to be a permanent full-time employee so she can better serve our campus community. Let's give it up for Sophie Wheeler.
Good morning, everyone. Okay. I'm Sophie Wheeler, and I am the sustainability coordinator here on campus. Before I get into what I do or what that means, I wanted to share a video I made with the help of our PIO. Hopefully, many of you have noticed we now have compost bins on campus. So I made, woohoo! So I made this quick video as a guide to show what goes in each bin. Some of you may have seen this video before. It was in the Cityscape newsletter last year, but I know we have a lot of new faces here today.
Hey Panthers, have you noticed the new waste bins around campus? This new 3-bin system includes separate receptacles.
I'm sorry, I don't know how to get the volume higher.
Recyclables and landfill items. You can throw away all organic matter. This includes fruits and veggies, meat and dairy, and food soil, cardboard, or paper. Do not throw away any plastic, glass, metal, or non-compostable packaging in the compost bins. Instead, many of these items can be recycled. This includes rigid plastics, glass bottles, and aluminum cans, and office paper. The landfill bins should also be used to dispose of anything that cannot be composted or recycled. This includes snack wrappers, soda and coffee cups, and straws. Happy sorting, Panthers.
So if you ever want to refer back to that, it is on my Instagram account for work, regenerate.scc. In case you might not know what being a sustainability coordinator consists of, I've put up some pictures of projects or events I've helped with in the last year. So you saw in the video that we now have green bins or compost bins around campus for food waste. California law actually requires that we have these. Keep this in mind if you're having an event on campus that serves food, because you may want to request a compost bin or at least make sure there's access to one. The second picture here shows one of our awesome maintenance techs installing our new Purple air quality sensor, which the campus received as part of a project from the city of Sacramento and the Sac Metro Air District. This sensor allows students, faculty, and surrounding residents to get real-time air quality fine particulate matter information in order to make informed decisions on their daily activities. We can all access this information through Purple Air's website or app, which is linked on the webpage, which I'll have a QR code on the next slide. Next, we have a photo of one of our clothing swaps. With the help of the amazing Student Sustainability and Environmental Club, we've hosted multiple clothing swaps in the quad to help combat fast fashion, which is responsible for over 10% of global carbon emissions. These have been very popular, so we do plan on having more in the future, definitely this semester. So be on the lookout for these and start gathering your old clothes. And finally, the last picture, this past April, I helped plan the Earth Day on the Green event with the help of many of you in the audience. This was a huge success. Hopefully a lot of you were there, and it was a lot of fun. So we definitely hope to do something similar this upcoming year. And finally, this QR code just takes you to the sustainability webpage on our main website. If you want to know more about these projects, there's a guide to waste there, a link to the air quality sensor, and my contact info if anyone wants to reach out anytime. Thank you. I am now honored to have our Director 3 of Administrative Services and my fabulous boss, Debbie Turner, come to the stage. Debbie is going to talk about what is at the heart of our campus, SCC's operations, maintenance, reprographics, and custodial professionals. Yay, Debbie.
Good morning. Welcome. Thanks, Sophie. That was awesome. Campus operations, as I call 4 areas of the campus, similar to 4 chambers of the heart, right? Not much happens on campus without us being involved. And obviously, we are here to support all faculty, employees, and the students to provide a high-quality facility for each day of use, and also to provide and coordinate services that may support each of the departments and academics. Our main office is at the south end of campus across from the softball field, and I just threw out there our web page. We invite everyone to visit so we could share with you all of our resources and obviously our front desk. In our operations staff in that particular office, Brenda Buckner is our supervisor there with 5 employees and 8 temp classified and students, and that's where all the magic happens. That's where we do all of our planning of projects. People come to us to pick up their keys, or they're calling in with issues that they might have on campus. But basically, that's where we do the bulk of our work in that area. And then I just wanted to provide a few annual stats from last year. We had over 1,500 calls come in to the front desk, which is just generated by internally the campus community. We had 57 external event reservations, 325 internal event reservations, which also includes help from our maintenance techs and custodial to do setup and breakdown. And then obviously our vehicle and bus reservations are also out of that office. In reprographics, Allison is our supervisor there with 5 employees. We have graphic design, and I invite you to go to the website to see all the services that graphic design team can provide to support you throughout the year. We had 310 requests last year. In our duplicating services, that's where you send all of your duplicating requests for the semester. So please use us. If we could get it done faster and cheaper for you, instead of doing it at your department locally. We had 1.5 million copies last year. And Allison and I were chuckling on Monday because we had 160 requests come in over the weekend in preparation for the semester. So people are back at school ready to go. So we also do the daily mail distribution, but please visit their website. They have lots of resources and they could do support you in a lot of ways. Maintenance techs. Nick is our supervisor with 2 employees and 4 temps. They do all the work orders, coordinate with vendors and FM to schedule the repairs. You see them in the orange carts at campus, and they're the ones that take our phone calls and each day when we have something going on. When you guys call us and said, help, we need someone now, they're the ones running over there to provide that assistance. We had 1,950 work orders. So that's about 162 a month divided by those small crew that we have on campus. So they work hard and they work fast, and they always do it with a smile. We have 650 key requests and 300 Imran requests. This is our custodial team. So Michael Castell is the supervisor of the day shift, and James is the interim soup of the night shift that starts at 4 p.m. We have 28 custodians, 1 receiving clerk, and we cover 7 locations. So not only is that main campus, but that's also district office and facilities. That's a lot of square footage. And that picture is our nighttime crew. And 7 of those are the new employees that have joined us last year. So very excited to have them on board. This is also a new custodian polishing up the cafeteria floor, and custodial department does so much for us every day. You may see them in the background, you see them roaming through the offices, but they are there to make this campus to look good and shine and restock it, unlock it, move equipment, do whatever we need them to do. So exactly. And I wanted to give a shout out to receiving Mike Harvey, which he might be off today, receives all of your packages. So all of you who order, he is receiving all those, checking them in, returning items that are broken, delivering those packages to your department. And he also won the Classy Award for MVP of Classified Staff, which is not surprising. He's a great guy. Stewardship. We just ask for your support as the campus community to help support us. If you see something out of the ordinary, please call our front desk and let us know, because we rather have 5 or 6 calls than no calls at all, especially if it's graffiti, if it's a leaking pipe, if it's something that's broken, something out of the ordinary, please give us a call. Get to know your custodian in your building or your area. They're great people. They want to be seen as well. Be patient with us as we work through all the work orders and requests that come in, and show kindness and gratitude, and thank you goes a long way to our staff. So that's always much appreciated, because a lot of work goes in to keep the campus operating. And I just wanted to throw in, as I close up here, I've been here for the last year working with our operations department daily. And this ops team has a lot of heart and compassion. They deeply care about this campus community. And that's why I say they're the heart of this campus, because not only are they making things happen every day, but just their compassionate and passion for this campus, supporting students any way they can. That's what this is all about, right? And they stop to assist students all the time. They walk students to service areas. We hire students in our area. They are wonderful people building relationships with all the departments so everyone can be successful in what they're trying to accomplish. They're passionate about connecting with the community through outside event rentals. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Brenda for all her hard work on this FC game that's coming up. She's in the back there. It's a lot of hours and a lot of work. So thank you. This group of people takes pride in making this campus be better. And not only do they bring a good attitude with it, but then we have a lot of skills and a lot of knowledge that goes along with that. They're all around great people. Get to know them. It's a privilege for me to work with them every day. And I just wanted them to stand up and back so you guys could give them a round of applause for all the hard work that they do. Woo! Thank you, everyone, and have a fabulous semester.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Custodials have like a special place in my heart. As the daughter and daughter-in-law of custodial parents and custodial parents-in-laws, right? If you want to know who works probably the hardest at this campus, it's going to be our custodial staff. And so I really appreciate how much everybody gave them a standing ovation here. They truly deserve it. And just like we see President Albert Garcia walk in our halls and we acknowledge them, I think our custodial staff deserves that same acknowledgement, if not more. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for all of the work that you do to keep our campus running. So with that, I have the privilege and honor to introduce Jessica Coppola. Jessica Coppola is a professor of nutrition and food science at Sacramento City College. She holds a PhD in nutritional biochemistry from UC Davis, go Aggies, and is passionate about improving health and happiness with food and beverages. She is also the wife to her husband, Eric, and is blessed to be the mom to an amazing 14-year-old girl named Summer. Let's give Jessica a round of applause.
Hello, everyone. My name's Jessica. Thank you for that lovely introduction. And I was invited to come here today to tell you about the Fab Lab. The Fab Lab stands for Food and Beverage Lab. And it's located at our Sacramento City College Davis Center, but it's a place that I hope you will all feel welcome to participate in, enjoy, and use, and you'll see why. So first of all, what is the Fab Lab? It's basically a teaching kitchen. It's a place where I hope that classes will come and use the space to enhance their existing curriculum. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. It's a place for students to explore how to make food. And it's hopefully a place that will change lives through healthy food and beverage preparation. So why build a teaching kitchen in the first place? Maybe I'm biased, but food is fun. Food is engaging. Do you agree? When you bring food into a topic, it just brings things to life. And that's the primary reason. It improves student success by having some hands-on opportunities that people won't have to come up with the ideas and buy the equipment and do it themselves. There will be a space for you to come and use that equipment already there at the Davis Center. And my hope is that we will teach students how to prepare food and beverages, and that we will save them money, we'll promote their health and well-being. We can talk about sustainability and food waste, the things that were discussed earlier, and much, much more. Oh, I acknowledge the chancellor's here, so I will try and be efficient. So for my class, I teach nutrition, right? And that's pretty obvious how the connection would be with cooking, right? You talk about healthy eating, you go into a kitchen and you actually get to make it and eat it and share it, and that's exciting. But what about organic chemistry? Already a collaboration that's happening is the OChem classes are going to take the beer that we brew and look for organic compounds in the beer as one of their laboratories. How fun, right? Microbiology, all kinds of possible interactions there. I'll just tell you one more exciting one, and that's in anthropology. There's an anthropology teacher at the Davis Center who's going to bring students in, and they're going to prepare foods in an ancestral way, you know, a mortar and a pestle. And so I think that all kinds of exciting opportunities will be available. So what kinds of cool stuff do we have so far? Well, we have a nano brewery. That's right. We have our own Sac City brewery. We can go from grain to beer right there. I can teach you how. It's easier than you might think. That was provided by our Office of Philanthropy by a mini grant. We've got all the things you might expect, hot plates and pots and pans and knives and things like that. But we have some gadgets like a dehydrator for making fruit leather. And we have a bread maker and an ice cream maker, and you know, some fun gadgets that may enhance your curriculum in your classes. By the way, I'm saying classes because I'm a teacher and I'm thinking of that setting, but my friend and mentor Tammy Conger mentioned, wouldn't it be fun to have a staff and faculty activity where we do, you know, meal preps and preparing food on a budget, right? We can all benefit from things like that. So we're preparing lots of fun workshops that I hope you'll all participate in. the Yolo County Food Bank pairing has been really exciting. When they have extra zucchini, for example, and they can't hand it all out, we're doing simple stir fries side by side with the food distribution. And we even have a recent collaboration with the UC Davis Student Farm. I don't know if you realize, but our Sac City Davis Center is on the UC Davis campus. It's in West Village. And because of that, it's just a stone's throw away from the student farm. And so they're allowing our students to tour and harvest and bring their foods back to the kitchen and prepare it right there at the Davis Center. So as you can see, when you build it, they will come. And my hope is that you're sitting there in your seat going, oh my gosh, I can think of this application or that application. So please feel free to scan the QR code there. It has a link to a brainstorming Padlet, and people have already contributed quite a bit to that. And you can just click the plus sign and add your ideas there. You can also reach out to me directly. I'd be happy to coordinate with you. Maybe we could make a workshop for your class, an extra credit activity, whatever it is we want to build in. So thank you for your time, and I hope to see you at the Fab Lab. And with that, I think we will be addressing the trustee and the chancellor.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for that. I'm actually really excited to think about what can I do in math? With that, I have the honor to introduce Trustee Pamela Haynes. Pamela Haynes is a driving force within the Los Rios Community College District, serving as Vice President of Area 5 on the Board of Trustees with a tenure that began in 1999. Her dedication to education policy, economic development, and community engagement has had a far-reaching impact extending beyond the district to her role on the Board of Governors for the California Community College and the Cal Bright College Board. A Santa Monica City College transfer alumna with degrees from UCLA and Harvard University, Pamela Haynes embodies a lifelong commitment to learning and student success. Her contribution resonates through her leadership, making her a catalyst for a positive change at Sacramento City College and throughout the Los Rios district. Please join me in welcoming our trustee, Pamela Haynes.
Yo, Sac City! All right, that's the welcome I really wanted. Thank you for those kind words. I get embarrassed a little bit. I'll start by recognizing Trustee Jones. Are you here? One of my colleagues on the Board of Trustees. Thank you for being here at Sac City with us. One of the things that I've had to, I'm going to go off script just a little bit. It took me 16 years from high school to just finish at UCLA. I had a lot of off ramps. I started out of high school. I got married, sort of stopped out. And then I went back, and then I had 2 children and had to stop out. And so most of my story was never told because it was like, oh my God, who does that? And I realized when I began serving on the Board of Governors in particular, that a lot of our students do that. I was on a panel with one student, adult learner, who started, and she beat me 20 years. And then she was transferring. She was so happy she was transferring. And she had been going one class at a time when she could. And so if there's any message that I can leave you with is the work that you do, the work that our board does is really centered on our students and what they need. So that's my preaching for today, but I really do want to go into remarks, and these are my formal remarks. So on behalf of the entire Los Rios Community College District Board of Trustees, I am delighted to be here this morning with Sac City's faculty and staff to help kick off the fall 2023 semester. As a trustee, convocation is a day that I look forward to because it is a chance for me to welcome all of you and to welcome you back and to recognize you for the important work that you engage in with our students. It is also an opportunity to recognize our colleges for their work to prepare another outstanding and impactful year here at Sacramento City College. And while they may not be here physically, but I'm hoping that they will be on campus sometime today, we are all here because of our students, those who are returning, and most especially our new students who are enrolling for the first time. For these students, it's an opportunity for us to make a good first impression. This fall is particularly exciting as our enrollment, both at Sac City and throughout Los Rios, is showing signs of rebounding, and we are on track to restore to pre-pandemic levels within the next couple of years. And I want to stop for applause. Yeah. That makes my colleagues and I on the Board of Trustees incredibly proud, as we know that creating access to our colleges for our community is at the heart of what we do. And it starts with getting students enrolled. But we also know that enrollment is just the start, because the ultimate goal is for our students to persist and to complete. Sometimes we call that success, but I want to be very clear. Success for me means completing, because completing means that they got to their goal. Our colleges, largely because of all of you in this room this morning, help change lives, help to lift people out of poverty, to change trajectories of entire families, sometimes neighborhoods, and what we hope communities. We help people who are often from communities that have been left behind. Once they are at our colleges, your commitment to meet students where they are, to focus on their goals, and to design with their experience in mind, it is all of you, our talented and passionate staff, faculty, and administrators. You all are the key to helping them achieve their dreams by turning that dream into reality. And so on behalf of the entire Los Rios Board of Trustees, thank you again. Thank you for everything that you do every day on behalf of our students. I hope that each of you has an incredibly fulfilling and successful fall semester. And so now it is my pleasure to welcome our Chancellor, Brian King. Thanks again. I love you back.
Is this microphone on? There we go. Good morning, everyone. This is a youthful crowd here at Sac City. I'm wondering, we're going to go back in time a little bit to 1979. So how many of you were not yet born in 1979? Stand up if you're among the youthful crowd here today. Wow, so we're probably about 50-50. So stand up for just a second. You don't have any memories of 1979, right? You weren't born yet. Do you have thoughts about what it was like in 1979? The best time. All right, well, take your seat. Everybody else was at least alive in 1979. Yeah, and some of us were more than alive. We have really clear memories of 1979. What do you think was going on in 1979? There were controversies, there were disagreements. The Iranian hostage crisis, what was 1979? You're on the right track here. Normalization of relations with China. There were some really big global situations. Controversies is the way they've always been. One of the biggest disputes of 1979, where you had to choose sides, there was disdain if you were on the wrong side, was rock and roll versus disco. So were you going to be in the rock and roll crowd? Were you going to listen to Jimi Hendrix and AC/DC? Were you going to be in the disco crowd? Were you going to listen to the Bee Gees and Earth, Wind and Fire? Now let's do a poll here. If you had to choose sides, how many of you would go rock and roll? It's a hard one. How many of you would go disco? Okay, again, we have a split. Not unlike the controversies today. In a lot of ways, it's a false choice, right? How do you categorize what's rock and roll? How do you determine what's disco? Where's the line between disco and R&B? Disco was the precursor to a lot of hip hop music in some ways. So not unlike many of the controversies today, if you lift the hood a little bit, there are some of the echoes of race, class, and gender. But in 1979, you had to choose. If you were in middle school like I was, you had to decide which side you were on. And ultimately, there was a lot written about that controversy. In the New York Times article, the war between rock and roll and disco talked about all the different elements. And not unlike today, something that you think shouldn't end in violence actually culminated in a riot in Chicago at Comiskey Field. Between a doubleheader baseball game, there was an anti-disco movement. People brought albums, they were going to burn the albums, and it ended in a riot. So they weren't able to play the second game of the doubleheader. So 1979, that's a while ago. Many of you weren't even born. You fast forward to today. How many of you feel like it's more polarized than it's been in your whole life right now? When you think about what's going on in the world around us, there is a tendency on so many issues that you have to choose sides. Are you with us or are you with them? On things that really, sometimes the definitions and the polls are not real. The polarization is forced. Disco or rock and roll. Think of the topic where you feel a need to choose sides. There's pressure to choose sides. Some things are worse than they were in 79. Some of the factors that lead to polarization. What are some factors you think that might make for polarization and negativity and toxicity in the world today that didn't exist in 79? Social media, way up on the list. 24-hour news cycle, it just never ends. Anything else? The internet. Yeah, so a lot of factors that make it harder to avoid that polarization. And I want to be really clear. I'm not talking about really important, courageous conversations that involve social justice. There is a place for really tough conversations. We're not talking about avoiding, we want to have those courageous conversations and do it in a way that is very productive, that pulls us towards our common shared goals and unity of purpose. So if it feels like, many of you said it feels like it's more polarized than ever before, there's some data that backs that up. In the last year or so, there was a survey, and 1 in 5, 20% of the respondents said they didn't just think that the people who had opposing views should lose power, they thought they should be dead. I mean, think about that for a second. We're the environment of 2023, where the sides of the tribes have become so opposed at times that it's not just enough to win the argument. A substantial number of people think that the people who are opposed to them really shouldn't even be around on the planet anymore. So I've got good news in that environment that we inevitably are influenced by and impacted by the broader world. We're not immune from some of the tendencies towards polarization, but we at Sac City and all of the Los Rios colleges have an incredibly powerful unity of purpose. When you think about the students who will join us Saturday and Monday, and I have such clear memories of the first day that I became a teacher and walked into that classroom and saw those faces of the students and the excitement on the first day. I love the first day of classes. The possibility of changing lives, what Trustee Haynes was talking about, the incredible opportunity that we have, those of us who will be in the classroom, those of you who will be supporting students in a variety of different ways. That unity of purpose is really powerful. Now, does that mean that we agree on everything? Do we agree on our strategies? Do we agree on how we measure success? We have, will, and should have really robust conversations about how we achieve the unity of purpose. And I think another great strength we have is there's a lot of agreement about 3 goals I'm going to talk about today. And the first, I want you to help me remember the 3 points on the goals that I want to make. The first is restore. Can you say restore? The second is maintain. Can you say maintain? And the third is ensure. Restore, maintain, and ensure. Restoring access, and Trustee Haynes talked about that a little bit, is the first goal where we have a powerful unity of purpose in restoring enrollment. It breaks your heart to think about during the pandemic how many students were not able to find access to our colleges. And the students who had the greatest difficulty finding our colleges were those who need us most. They were our Black students, our brown students, our students of color, our first generation students, our low income students. So we lost students of all demographics, but we lost most of the students who need us most. And many of you know enrollment had been declining before the pandemic. We were not in a growth mode at Los Rios or Sac City or in California community colleges. We were slowly declining. And then the pandemic rapidly accelerated that rate. Huge declines across the state. But I have good news to share and some very specific news. So in the spring semester of 2023, we had the largest single increase term to term. So spring of 22 to spring of 23, the largest single term increase we had in more than 15 years. That's worthy of applause, isn't it? Simply would not have been possible without all of you who are here today, those of you who are watching remotely, and everyone across the district plays an important role in this huge success we're celebrating together. But it gets better. Summer of 2023, term to term, again from summer of 22 to summer of 23, 12% increase. Pretty awesome, right? And good indications that's not just a blip, that's going to be a continuing pattern. The fall enrollment now, we're up about 8% over last fall and much bigger numbers in terms of total students. So that's exciting. And I want to thank you, as Trustee Haynes was saying, simply would not be possible without the work that all of you are doing throughout Sac City. So give yourselves a round of applause. So goal number 1 was what? Restore. So we're well on our way to restoring enrollment to pre-pandemic levels, but we're not going to stop there. We know there are many students throughout the capital region beyond the number of students we were serving before the pandemic who need us. And we're going to talk about ways that we've expanded our capacity to serve the region during the traumas of the pandemic. So the first goal was to restore access. The second goal is not very glamorous. It's not very sexy. And when you talk about maintaining something, maybe that doesn't sound aspirational, but maintaining something that's really hard is incredibly difficult when you think about that. Becoming excellent is hard. Remaining excellent is incredibly hard. And in terms of fiscal stability, how many of you have gone to meetings around the state where you hear about how things are working at other districts? A lot of you have. How many of you would trade places with any other district in a California community colleges in terms of fiscal stability? We are the envy of California community colleges. There are 23 multi-college districts in California. If you were going to rate us in terms of fiscal stability by any objective measure, we would be at the very top in terms of fiscal stability. Sometimes we take that for granted at Los Rios, where it's sort of like the utilities. As long as the power goes on, we just accept, well, yeah, we do a good job planning fiscally, but it's not an accident. And we have 2 of our board members here, Trustee Haynes and Trustee Jones. Let's give them a round of applause. The board sets the tone for fiscal responsibility. But we have a lot, all of you are leaders, but we have some formal leaders in the room today. So everybody who's on the Chancellor's executive, on the Chancellor's cabinet, will you stand up? Members of the Chancellor's cabinet from Sac City. So that's all of our stakeholder leaders. So you got in the room both labor leaders and Senate leaders who come together and have that unity of purpose. We don't always agree. We have different venues for working through the complexities of implementation. And we have both college leaders and district-wide leaders. Andy, good to see you here today. So every week, almost without exception, I have a conversation with the presidents of our 4 collective bargaining units. And we have a really, Jake is here as well as a district-wide leader of collective bargaining. So I really appreciate the commitment of all of the formal leaders and the fact that all of you have a leadership role in maintaining this second goal of fiscal stability. And it's not easy in California because the budgets are incredibly volatile. So when the pandemic started, we, as most organizations, anticipated that what would happen to state revenues? What would you think would happen when a global pandemic's going on? Remember March of 2020, the stock market crashed. There was a sense that this was something that none of us had experienced in our lifetime. The anticipation was that state revenues would decline. What happened? State revenues have gone up. And I mean, Trustee Haynes has been a trustee for 24 years, Trustee Jones. I became president of a California community college in 2004. This is the best budget in more than 20 years, and it's not close. So let's celebrate the good news of the moment for a good budget. That translates into a 12% retro payment for all of our employees, all of our, and also ongoing salary improvements, recognizing that inflation is tough. Some costs continue to go up, like healthcare. It's not easy to meet all the needs in our personal budgets, and we live in an incredibly expensive state where housing is expensive. But this is a good year, so let's enjoy. Again, let's enjoy the fact that we have a retro and an ongoing salary increase, and the best budget year maybe in the history of California community colleges. So let's celebrate that together. And recognize that part of fiscal stability is planning, hoping for the best. We've got the best right now, and planning for the reality that when it's as good as it's ever been, the ups and downs are inevitable. And California budgets are volatile for a lot of reasons. Most revenues come from 1%. About half of all the revenues in California come from 1% of taxpayers. And a lot of those revenues are dependent on how the stock market is doing. So when there are capital gains, money goes up. Why else were revenues at a record high last year for California? Where else did money come from that won't be coming again? From the federal government and COVID relief. Billions of dollars were printed by the federal government that have flowed to California. So this year's a good budget year. This number, you don't have to be able to read the data, just the teal on top is the revenue estimate the governor and the legislature used. See that high estimate for revenues for this year? The highest number. The middle number is where the legislative analyst office, the nonpartisan group that looks at the budgets, predicts revenues will come in, somewhere in between. The bottom line is what the LAO, the legislative analyst, says is the low point of revenues. And we really don't know yet what revenues are going to be for this fiscal year because the state delayed collections. Because of the pandemic, they put off a day. So we're still projecting what revenues will be for this year, even though the money is spent. So we want to enjoy the moment and also recognize that one of the strengths of Los Rios has been that we know in California, winter is coming in the budget. You're never wrong predicting there will be a recession in California that will be dramatic. You're always wrong predicting when it will come. So we know there will be a recession. We don't know when it will be. We hope it is as far away as possible. But when it comes, it will be tough, and we'll have to prepare for that. And the group of leaders you saw will be having conversations whenever revenues shrink to maintain fiscal stability. That's been a strength of Los Rios in good times, but even more importantly, it's been a strength of Los Rios when times are tough, like the economic downturn of 2008. Some of you remember how tough it was when revenues actually declined, and we came together and found a way through it. So the first goal was to do what? Restore. Second goal, to maintain. Again, a goal that we excel at in maintaining fiscal stability. The third goal is absolutely the most important goal, and that's ensuring equitable student outcomes. And we can't ever achieve the third goal if we're not successful on the first two. If we're not providing access, we're not serving the students. If we're not restoring that access across the students who we lost in particular, if we're not having a razor focus on students of color and low-income students, we're not going to get to the third goal. If we don't have adequate resources and don't spend them well, we'll fail in our programming and addressing the needs for students. And back to the point during the pandemic, the students who need us most have suffered the most in recent years. So if you were going to grade us on restoring access, we get a pretty good grade. If you give us a grade on fiscal stability, we score very well, particularly on the California statewide curve. We're an A+ on that curve. When you look at how we're doing in closing gaps for students regardless of race, the world we want to live in is a world where students at Sac City are all successful regardless of their zip code, regardless of their race or ethnicity, regardless of their level of income. You agree with me on that? That's the world you want to live in? And we have hard work to do on this third goal. And our students tell us what they want to do is complete. As Trustee Haynes was saying, some students want to complete a certificate, some want to complete a 2-year degree, some want to do that and transfer to a 4-year college or university. So our focus, our unity of purpose is helping students from all walks of life achieve their goals. And transform their lives. So, I started teaching, I'm old. I started teaching in 1991. I became a full-time faculty member. And now you fast forward to 2023, the amount of change from 1991, when I became full-time faculty member, and 2020 was a little bit of change. I don't want to do the math how many years that was. It was a lot. And then the pandemic came in 2020. And more has changed in community colleges in the last 3 years than in all those previous years combined. You see this image. Remember at Sac City when our only contact with students was drive-through, giving them laptops so they could do their work remotely. Dramatically different world. And you think about how we were providing instruction and services. February of 2020, pre-pandemic, what percentage of our courses were on ground? You remember? 85% of our courses were online. Maybe 15% district-wide were remote. What services could students get remotely in February of 2020? What percentage of services do you think it was? It would have been relatively few services that students could access remotely. Then it was Friday, the 13th of March, 2020. What percentage of courses had to be online? 100. And services that had never been provided remotely had to pivot towards another way of providing services when there was no face-to-face interaction for the health concerns during the pandemic. Now, fast forward to where we are now. Pandemic was an awful time. There's no doubt about that. I've shared with you before my personal experience being hospitalized with COVID pneumonia, and fortunate, I mean, I'm lucky to be alive. I appreciate every day. So I don't want to minimize the difficulties that we all experienced during the pandemic, and many of those continue. When we were talking about toxicity, some of that's a carryover of the pandemic too, where we said things to each other on Zoom that we wouldn't have said if we were in the same room together. Chat conversations in big meetings included comments that probably would not have happened in another setting. And we were forced to do things in a different way that has benefited many students. The demand for online education is real, and it's not going to subside. The effectiveness of online education is an area where we need to focus. As we have more data, we'll see that some students are excelling online and some students are not. We'll see that some online courses are really effective and some are not. We'll see that some types of courses thrive online and some struggle. So we have a lot of work to do in looking at how students are successful and meeting them where they are. we are not likely to go back to a world like the world before the pandemic. And we look at some of our colleagues in higher ed. If you're at UC Davis, does UC Davis look much different than it did in 2019? If you go on campus, it doesn't. Does Sac State look much different than it did in 2019? No, they've returned to the old system, and it's a different world for community colleges that our students have different choices and different needs. So when we look at ensuring equitable outcomes, the hard work we're going to have to do together is to look at some of the changes that have happened, determine which ones are good for students. And back to online education, there are some students who simply were not able to physically get to our campuses. They were shut out of access on that goal of restoring access. So moving forward, there are hundreds of thousands of adult learners in the capital region who have some college but have not completed their degree. What is the best pathway for adult learners to complete a degree in many instances? It's going to be that online inventory that we did not have before the pandemic. And another really big change that's going to have a lot of impact on our 4 colleges is how many students are taking a course at more than one of our colleges. So at graduation, how many of you got to go to the return to the north? Isn't it great to go to a real graduation again? And we asked the question, how many of the students had taken a class at more than one of our colleges? What percentage of students across our 4 colleges, what percent of graduates do you think have taken a class at more than one college? It's more than 80%. So that is a huge change pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, where now, largely because of more online, students are able to access the inventory of all 4 colleges. Who wins with that change? Our students win. So our job moving forward is how do we reduce friction when students are taking courses at more than one college, and how do we look at a way of aligning the 4 colleges in helping students get to that goal of earning their certificate or their degree? It's a very different way of looking at our student needs, but I am really excited that as we start this year, you're going to be up to the challenge, and all of us are going to be up to the challenge to say the world is just different than it was before. There's some sadness about that always, isn't there? There are things about the pre-pandemic world that all of us will miss. And there are realities about how the world has changed that we ignore only at our own peril. And online is a great example. You may have philosophical hesitation about how well online works right now, but there's no way we would be achieving the first goal of restoring access if we arbitrarily reduce the number of online offerings to meet a philosophical goal. So those are the kind of conversations we're going to have together to make sure that we ensure equitable outcome for our students. And we'll have collegial conversations, we'll have difficult conversations about how to do that and achieve the 3 goals, which are to, number 1, restore, number 2, maintain, and number 3, ensure equitable outcomes for all of our students. So as we welcome our students on Saturday and Monday to the fall semester of 2023, I am incredibly excited. The energy in this room, the commitment to achieving these goals, and the place where we are as Sac City and as the Los Rios colleges, we are very well positioned because of our success on the first 2 goals to make even more progress towards that most important goal about ensuring equitable outcome for our students. As hard as the last 3 years have been, I just have no doubt as we look forward, the best is yet to come. So thank you for letting me spend a little bit of your time today. Always encourage you to give me feedback, give me suggestions, give me your ideas. I'm easy to find. It's not Queen Bee, it's King Bee at losrios.edu. So Sac City, thanks for your time today, and best wishes for a tremendous
for them, right? Back in the day, seeing myself up here would have been not been possible. So I think it's great that as community colleges, we are looking to be flexible, to be inclusive, and really think about how can we change to ensure that access is also inclusively. All right. I know we've been sitting here for a while, so let's go ahead. We're going to take a moment to take a bio break. I know for sure I need one. So let's go ahead and we'll do 10 minutes. We will be returning at 10:20. And then we will go ahead and resume our fall 2023 convocation.
Is it open? No? Did I what? Hello? Hi. Welcome back from bio break and let's get part 2 going. Take a seat, please. I work with those folks. I hear that a lot. I take that message seriously. Tell us you ready? Yeah. Okay. Okay, everyone, we're going to get going again. So please take a seat. The lights are shining in my eyes, but I still hear talking. All right, this was the part of the program where I had planned to say to all of you, aren't we so happy about the great job our student MC Telus is doing this morning? Yay! So people of Sacramento City College, Telus is in the room and on the stage, so he will be taking over for the next part of the program. Yay! All right, I want to start with saying hi. My name is Deborah Knowles, and I have the honor to serve as the advisor for the Student Leadership and Development at Sacramento City College, along with our team, Jessica Taylor, Shay Gorman, and Moises Ramirez. The 4 of us take care of our student leaders the best that we can and guide them along the way. Yay, woohoo! I wanted to share some things with you, give you a did you know. Do any of you go to meetings like ever? Do you go to a meeting once in a while? All right. Have you ever made a request, usually to me, and we welcome that, to say, hey, can you get a student to ... Thank you for that. But I want you to know some stuff. I'm going to ask the people that are talking to please stop now. I work with student leaders. I say that often. So if you're talking, if you could please stop, I'd appreciate it. Norman, I hear you. Okay. So did you know our student leaders at Sacramento City College, by their own governing documents, regularly are committed to 29 scheduled meetings a month? It is not just 1 meeting a month student senate. It is the student associated council. It includes the student senate and the club and events board and a joint budget committee. They have governing documents that also mandate that they participate in many subcommittees, such as their own finance committee, their own public relations, their own technology, their own sustainability, their own outreach and development, their own equity and diversity, and more. I'm sure I'm not remembering all of them. It is a big job that these students take on, and they volunteer. And seriously, they are a volunteer workforce for our students and for our college. How many of them are there? Anybody know? How many student leaders do we have serving in a position? 12 to 15. They do all that. It's impressive. All of our students are juggling things, but add this to it and it becomes quite impressive, in my opinion. There's a lot going on at our college. In addition to what I just shared, we had about 22 active clubs post-pandemic last semester. We stayed during the pandemic, during the closure, at around 10. We kept 10 going and alive online, but it started coming back. Last semester, we had 22. We normally have had around 50, so we're recovering. And they have to recharter every year, both with the help of the Club and Events Board and the student leadership staff. We already have 8 clubs in the process of rechartering for this year, or already have. And it's a really good start because normally they don't even start until September. So we're on a good path to bring breathe student life back into our campus through our club. So I wanted to share that with you too. Thanks. Something new that they're doing this year that's coming from the Student Senate of California Community Colleges, new for them as well. They are hosting an advocacy academy in December in Riverside, and Sacramento City College student leaders plan to participate in that. I think it's wonderful to see our student leaders interested in professional development around advocacy. So look for more information coming soon on that. And then the last thing I want to share is voting. I've shared this before, and from my heart, I thank you all who have helped encourage our students to participate in the on-campus elections and anything you're doing to have them vote in community elections. Please support in any way you can continue to do so. A reminder, the college student demographic is the most underrepresented in national elections. And as you all well know, we have a big national election gearing up right now. Our students' voice need to be heard. And we can do something to help change that at Sac City. So thank you for your support and encouraging our students to vote. If they get in the habit, even for the on-campus election, it will help them be engaged and ready for the national election. So it's a very important mission. Okay, now the highlight of convocation for most of us is hearing what our student leaders have to say. Student Senate President Molly Nielsen is now a second-year student. She turned 18 just 2 weeks ago. She's a puppy. I would love to introduce you to her, and I do hope you will get to meet her. However, her family was told 2 weeks ago they had to move now. And in the scramble, she lost access to her phone, her internet, her communication with me, her ability to write a speech, and was really just struggling to figure out where's the food and sleeping. She is safe, she's covered, she has a place to go, her family's good. But in that, her little sister got sick. And 2 days ago, Molly got it. Molly's very sick. She's home resting with our blessing to get well for the start of the semester. And so I hope you hold her in her heart, as with all of our students in our hearts, to be healthy and well so that they can get their education. In the meantime, and very much like the example for most of our students and those of us who work here, we were flexible and ready to turn on a dime. And so Vice President Tellis Sudds will be delivering our student address today. And as you well know, he was also the MC. So the fact that he is here and made it through traffic and had 1 day to write a speech, I think is freaking incredible. And I hope you can all join me in welcoming him, his amazingness, and honoring that of all of our student leaders of what a fabulous student he is. And if he reads his speech, that's okay with me because he just wrote it. Okay, welcome, Tellis.
You know, I had to represent. How we living today, Sac City? How we feeling? All right. All right. Hi, my name is Tellis Sudds.
I'm the Vice President of Student Senate at Sacramento City College. Many of you know me. You know I'm hardworking. I enjoy large portions of food. And it has been genuinely great to work with staff and faculty over the years. I appreciate all of you. And thank you for believing I can do this. Thank you. I'd like to ask a question though. What does better mean? See, I speak with faculty, classified professionals, and administrators today as a member of the student body and as our microphone for our voice, literally. See, today, here at Sacramento City College, I'm a representative of the People's College. The communities of our college are diverse in culture, yet similar. Similarly, we all have the desire to pursue better. Better for our families, better for our community, better for our society, and better for ourselves. So first, let me give a big shout out to my advisor, Deborah, and our student leadership and development team, Jessica, Moises, and Shay. Amen. You guys definitely rock. And thank you for your encouragement and support. Professionals, and on behalf of our students, I'd like to thank our classified professionals, our faculty, and our administrators who keep us all going through our academic journeys. And I'm grateful that our college president, Dr. Albert Garcia, for being present and listening to our students. Further, we appreciate the Los Rios Board of Trustees and the Los Rios Chancellor, Brian King, for looking ahead and ensuring that our students always have a path to follow. But today, can I just lay down a challenge for you? I'd like you to consider the student perspective. And the challenge is, does our college feel like a community, or do our communities just feel like college with tests and exams and rigor? See, there's things we can all do to build up our community for our college. Have you heard of Caring Campus? Did you know that we're one? No, literally, we are one. When you think of cityways, do you think of ways that make us a city? See, here, what we students appreciate and value here at the People's College, when you look up, do you see us? Do you welcome us? Do you smile and greet us? Anywhere and everywhere, whether it be the parking lot, the cafe, the long lines, the quad, the classroom, or the lunch hour. Please welcome us. Because you matter. It matters. See, a warm welcome is important, especially when we think of our counseling department, a warm referral. How many times have students been lost and really don't know where to go? And then our student style of communication is always more confident when we come to each other on a personal level, when we know each other personally. Or are you just seen as another authority figure? How many times has a student shut down and then we just have that same dichotomy, that parent-child dichotomy? So talk with us, introduce yourself, because we don't really care about your title. You know, we just want to know your name, because You matter. It matters. And do we know other departments? See, this place is big and complex. It's college. We come in knowing very little. And much less, how much do you know that you want to share? Or can you help us find it? See, with you knowing, you matter. None of us know what we don't know. And in a recent message from the POI's Office to Student Leadership Training, we learned that the average student career at Sacramento City College is 6 years. 6 long years. And that's the average. So for all of us, we want this in a shorter time period. And when the college thinks that the student knows something, let me just be the first to tell you, we always don't. So a constant effort for us to, for you to reach out and help us is important. See, we need to know the resources that are available around us, both on the college campus, but within also the surrounding community. See, we ask for your compassion. To faculty, your office hours are the key to experiencing the best and the worst of student stories. I want to give you an example, right? How many professors have had their students prep for an exam, they take the exam, they don't do as well as they thought, you guys give the exam back, we look at it, and then for 2 weeks, you're flooded with students in your office hours, right? But what we're really asking for is that you give us grace. Give us one more chance. One more chance to get it right. One more chance to get it up and finish our college work. Yes, I've been one of those students. I've waited too long. I've made mistakes. And I'm just going to be honest, I've gotten lazy before. But I'm quite sure that many of you within your college experience have a similar story. So you see so many students like this. And yet, we're just asking for one more time with some compassion because it matters. And did you know that there are former student leaders right now that found out as early May that they didn't get accepted to the university of their dreams, or that they were going to fail a class because they got behind, taking care of a family member who was just coming either from a medical emergency or surgery, thinking, I can pull this up, it's not too late, I can do this, only to find out that you can't. Like, do you remember that crushing feeling sometimes when you thought you could pull your grade back up? And these are the struggles that student leaders are facing. These aren't even the average student. So let's think about the average student experience. Please be there. Please reach out. Please constantly nudge us to partake in what this place has to offer. And there's many more things to consider. But really, I want to invite you to do something within your circle. Consider something that maybe you can do better. You know what? Let's take a moment. Let's take a moment right now. Let's close our eyes and think of what we can do. And can we do it better? And in support of that, let's just take a 5-second break. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And realize that you have the support of 16,000 plus students. And we want to succeed. And we all strongly encourage you to remember that we are the people's college. and you matter. You hear that? All right. Yeah, yeah, that was it. Everybody. Okay. Yeah. Do I take this off?
You can if you want.
Okay. This one. Okay.
All right, as your former MC, let's give a round of applause to Dallas. Wasn't that amazing? It is my honor to give him back the mic.
Thank you, Carla. All right. Thank you to our Student Association, Council, as you represent the leaders that uplift students. So next is my honor to bring up President Albert Garcia of Sacramento City College.
Morning, everybody. You know, before we go on, I just want to acknowledge that there's a whole lot of work that goes into putting on this program. And I'm going to mention a few people, but not everybody. Just because I was writing them down earlier, but definitely Halsey Boyd and Carmen Hirkala, Carla Rojas, who not only steps in at the moment as an MC, but who also did some work on my slides and took them from being amateurish to real. Dwayne Leonard, Donna DiMartini, Alex White. Let's really give it up for Alex and Michi from our AV department. Oops. There we are. Okay. A year ago at this time, the opening slide in my presentation said, "Where are we?" At our convocation this past January, that title slide asked, "What kind of college are we becoming?" Given the slide you see in front of you right now, you might be concluding one of two things: that I have a lot of personal issues and existential questions, or I think our college community, especially given the circumstances of being forced to react to a global pandemic, is reasonably asking, are we there yet? Have we reached the new normal? Is this what my job is going to look like? Is this what my college is going to be? I'm still hearing versions of these questions, and there are so many ways of answering. Our schedule this semester is 44% online, 18% hybrid, and 38% in person. The left side of this graph shows the percentage of in-person classes, the middle, our online offerings, and the right, our hybrid classes. You can see this has changed little since last fall, shifting a little more toward in-person, but the ratio is close to the same. I think it's important to note that this isn't a ratio arranged by what we want. It's reflective of what our students are willing to sign up for. Our deans and department chairs have done a great job of creating a schedule of classes that students have enrolled in. Chancellor King mentioned our district-wide growth figure as being around 8%. As of yesterday, our current enrollment is up close to 10% at Sacramento City College. That's this fall compared to last fall. That's really a huge turnaround, and we have so many people to thank. Again, deans and department chairs, our outreach staff, our A&R folks, our affinity centers, our counselors, our support specialists, really all of our faculty, staff, and administrators who reach out and welcome prospective and continuing students to the college. This class schedule, this ratio, is what I expect to see in the future, or some mix that's close to it. Because of that, I expect to see our work in relation to in-person and remote be directed by what our individual offices and classrooms need, and what our students need, and what we need from each other. I know there will be further discussions with our labor organizations that will have a bearing on this, but in this new world of work, I hope we can keep the needs of our students, our communities, and each other at the fore. This morning, I want to spend part of this time talking about who we will be as a college, not in terms of remote or in person, but rather in terms of how we exist as a college in the many communities we represent. Let me give you an example. Earlier this morning, we heard a recitation of our land acknowledgement statement. We paid tribute to the Maidu, Miwok, and Nisenan people who occupied this area for countless generations before our college came into being. You need to know, though, that it has come to our attention that something we were doing as a college was hurtful to our native people. So we had a decision to make. You see, Jeremiah Lillard, the Lillard of Lillard Hall, was the founding father of our college. This is the new building. Additionally, he was an archaeologist who made his reputation by studying Native American tribes of the Central Valley and excavating graves, removing human remains and artifacts. At that time, and in the name of science, the college saw nothing wrong with that. Indeed, his reputation was stellar. Now, in 2023, knowing the hurt that this has caused for the current day ancestors of those people, those who are part of our Sacramento and SCC community, those who see the name Lillard on the side of our new building on the south end of campus, I believe we have an obligation. Therefore, we will be renaming that particular building. Instead of Lillard Hall, it will now be the Natural Sciences Building. I hope you agree that we can be at once grateful for the direction Mr. Lillard gave our college in the early years of its existence, and also responsive to an important part of our community. This is the way we evolve as a college. This responsiveness and connectedness to our communities is important. During the pandemic, all of our colleges were challenged when we became almost exclusively online institutions. We were not the vibrant center of activity communities had come to expect from us. Well, we have begun to make a wonderful comeback. In April, we held a fantastic open house event under the Celebrate City name. I couldn't attend that event because I had COVID, but people were sending me pictures and videos. I could see the spirit on campus. I could see, yes, a certain vice president dancing alongside colleagues, students, and one of our board members. Earlier that morning, I saw two other administrators dancing with our Panther mascot on Good Day Sacramento. I can't tell you how proud I was to be part of that team, a team saying to the community, come on over, we're your college. To all the people responsible for planning that event, and it was plenty of people, as well as the Student Empowering Conference and the Earth Day celebration we heard about a little while ago, we held, I just want to say thank you to all those folks. That was a whole lot of work putting on 3 big events during the month of April. And I think it really helped to sort of replace us in the community. And we didn't stop at that point. In June, I attended the opening of our Sacramento Shakespeare Festival and Macbeth. The turnout that opening night was fantastic, a full house, but it didn't stop there. Large audiences were reported for the entire run. I want to congratulate and thank our theater arts department. And I know they aren't the only ones opening themselves up to the community. From what I can see, our community wants this. Our athletics teams, our Condos Art Gallery, so many more groups on campus. Next week, we will be hosting the Sac Republic FC in Hughes Stadium. I hope many, if not all of you, will attend. It should be a great time. And isn't it fantastic that you have an opportunity to win free tickets to that today? The image you see there is just a screenshot from the website, but you should actually go to the Sac Republic website and watch the video about the team in Hughes Stadium. It's really quite moving and fantastic for, you know, a facility that we have that has such a rich history here in Sacramento. This is what I want to continue. On a practical level, placing ourselves at the center of our communities helps to attract students to the college. That's good for all of us, but it also helps us to serve the community and ourselves in ways that we need. I don't know about you, but when I first came to this college, I could sense the history of this place and that people loved being here. It didn't feel like just a job, and it still doesn't. Over the past several years, we've developed ideas and concepts that have the potential to help direct us in our community, that help us answer the question, what do we stand for? We have a mission statement that highlights the fact that we see ourselves as the people's college. That first sentence mentions both students and community. More and more, I'm wanting to use the plural of the word community because we have so many communities: an on-campus community, an online or remote community, communities based on geography or neighborhood, communities based on race, culture, gender, sexual identification, K through 12 communities, university communities, the community in your Chem 400 class, the community in the counseling center. How do we serve all these communities? Well, along with the mission statement, we have our college values. I think these are useful. Our city ways also give us great direction. You know as well as I that these can be just words on a website. They can also be transformational in terms of how we interact with our communities. The same goes for our Caring Campus programs. We heard about that a little while ago. Already we have so many people doing such great work around the college. What am I going to do, you might ask? How will I contribute? There is always the question about the degree to which a president should spend his time on campus or in the surrounding community. I would like to think that I can do both, but in addition, I want to make a special effort to meet with students. I want to hear what they are experiencing. I'll have more information about that in future weeks, but I'm open for your ideas also about how I can make that happen. I want to meet with you too. So I'll be restarting the president's office hours we had established under President Gutierrez. And if you'd like me to meet with your group in a department meeting or some other gathering, please let me know. If it works for our schedules, I'd love to do that. I'll end by saying just how excited I am to start this new academic year with all of you. I suppose my comments about community may have sounded aspirational, but I think that's what we need. We have such good people here. I can't wait to see what we can accomplish. Thank you.
All right. So next we have new hires and promotions. And the constituent leaders in these sections, we ask that you hold your applause until the end. And people will not be coming on stage. And you can ask those that are present virtually or in person to make their presence known. So let me introduce Kevin and Evelyn being first.
Good morning, Sacramento City College. I am the classified Senate President, and it is my honor at the convocations right now to introduce our new hires and our promotions. And let me say, it is truly an honor that I have to represent our classified professionals, whom I feel are the best in this district. So to all of you, a round of applause. As I read your names, if I butcher your name, I do apologize. Please remember, I have a toddler and I have a lack of sleep. And I know we have a long program, so with that, I'll begin. Derek Allenby, Outreach Specialist for Admissions and Records. Rachel Din Lopez, Student Personnel Assistant for Outreach. Sofana Lim, Counseling Clerk 2. Magdalena Natividad, Instructional Assistant for Dental. Carolina Avila Armenta, Student Support Specialist. Donovan Bradley, new Student Support Specialist. LaShonda Berry, Student Personnel Assistant for Student Services. Christian Borrego, new custodian for Rada Hall North and Rada Hall South. Alma Cornejo, new custodian for business. Thank you for all your work in our building, Alma. Terrence Friend, new custodian for Rada Hall North and Learning Resource Center. Nayeli Rojas Gonzalez, new student personnel assistant for student services. Dustin Johnson Young, new science laboratory technician for biology. I apologize in advance. Slav, thank you for your work. A new custodian for Lillard Hall. Maria Matista, new accountant clerk 2. Edith Miranda Pacheco, new student personnel assistant. Linda Reed, new counseling clerk 2. Al Simmons, new custodian, Performing Arts Center. Marcus Stamps, new custodian, North Gymnasium. Hallel Whitaker, Financial Aid Technician, new. Oisma Zayati, Electronic Calibration and Repair Technician, new. Khaled Banks, Instructional Laboratory Supervisor, Health Programs. Christine DeCamp, Administrative Assistant 3. Candy He, Student Support Specialist. Mary Irving, Student Support Specialist. Alma Mija, Confidential Administrative Assistant 3 for Albert. Crystal Lee, Public Information Officer. Rebecca Rodriguez, Administrative Assistant 2 for the Instruction Office. Harold Williams, Student Support Specialist. Shauna Jones Hayes, Clerk 3, transferred from our own LRPD. Carla Lopez, Outreach Specialist. Laura Mora, Grant Coordination Clerk. Ashley Killian, Instructional Assistant for the Child Development Center. Linda Reynolds, Science Laboratory Technician for Chemistry. Anna Tinoco, Administrative Assistant 1 for Education and Health Professions. Crystal Thornton, Curriculum Specialist Promotion. Let's see, I'd like to just one more round of applause for all of our promotions and our class counts. With that, I would like to pass the mic over to our very own Sandra Guzman and Donna DiMartini. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Donna DiMartini, Academic Senate Vice President, and I'm just here to support Sandra because just in case her voice gives out when she reads this long list of LTTs.
Thank you. Buenos dias. Good morning. It's good to be with you all. I am Sandra Guzman, your Academic Senate President. And I also want to note before we get started that we had faculty join us in the spring semester, some as long-term temps who may not be recognized today, but I want to take a moment to say thank you to those of you who joined us in the spring. Yes. And I also want to say how blessed we are to do this work. What a blessing, right? I feel it this morning as our students speak, as all of our speakers come up and talk about the commitment we have to our community. So what a blessing it is to be here and to help serve our students in the community at large. And how lucky are we to have each other? We have a long list today to introduce, and I also heard our Chancellor King say that we have a very fiscally sound and healthy budget. And so I hope, actually, I expect to be announcing either I or your next Senate President full-time tenure track faculty next year. I will remind us of how fiscally healthy we are as we engage in those discussions throughout the academic year. So without further ado, please hold your applause until the end. And if you are here, please stand to be recognized. If you're on Zoom, throw up an emoji or whatever you'd like in the chat. That's appropriate, of course. And I will recognize you virtually as well. So first up, we have Dave Anderson, Aviation Assistant Professor, full-time. Caitlin Beebe, Dental Assisting Professor. Wendy Nielsen, Occupational Therapy Assistant. John Vertito, Nursing LVN. James Barrett, LTT, Economics Assistant Professor. Rosette Bravo Nguyen,
LTT, Dental Hygiene Assistant, Professor. Lisa Daniels, LTT, Ethnic Studies Assistant Professor. Tristan Eifler, LTT, Chemistry Assistant Professor. Janine Gates, LTT, Dental Assistant Professor. Angela Lowry, LTT, Photography Assistant Professor. Andrew Otsuki, LTT, Chemistry Assistant Professor. Cheryl Steele, LTT, Dental Hygiene Assistant Professor. Jasmine Williams, LTT, Communication Studies Assistant Professor. Brandon Youngblood, LTT, Psychology Assistant Professor. Please share your appreciation once again for those of us in the room. Congratulations, felicidades, and those of you on Zoom. Have a beautiful fall semester. I don't know if it's my job to introduce the next, but I feel like I'm here and I have the mic and nobody's pulling me off, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'd like to welcome our next presenters and our senior leadership team representatives, Miguel Zaragoza and Rose Giordano.
Good morning, Sacramento City College. Make some noise. Yes. Maybe it's the coffee in me that's flowing, but I think it's the excitement about the start of the semester. Very excited to be here. Very excited to start the fall semester with you all here. Very inspiring to be a part of such an amazing campus. And we are here to introduce to you some of our team of our new administrators serving here at Sacramento City College. Once again, my name is Miguel Zaragoza, and I'm joined by Dr. Rose Giordano, who is, we are serving as the SLT co-chairs this year. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and begin. Nayeli Chavez, Hispanic Serving Institutions Early College Program Interim Director. I should have noted at the beginning, I am dyslexic, so I do apologize if I butcher anyone's name. Adrian Chavez Fitzhugh, Interim Dean of Planning, Research, and Institutional Effectiveness. Steve Hansen, Interim Dean of Kinesiology, Health, and Athletics. Dr. Devin L. Horton, Dean of Natural Sciences. Julie Muir, Director of Employment Partnership for Automation. Dr. Cynthia Santana Sommer, Associate Vice President of Economic and Workforce Development. Debbie Turner, Director of Administrative Services.
Miguel Zaragoza, Development Hispanic Serving Institutions and Grant Project Director 7.
One more time, make some noise, everyone, for our new managers and leadership team. We're excited to be working with you all this year, and we are so excited to create some amazing vision for this college. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Let's give it up one more time for that leadership team. All right. So next we have closing remarks with Alex White, Professor White, shout out. She was my professor.
Hi, everybody. How we doing? Microphone check. Okay. So this convocation just feels so different from the last couple of convocations we had. It feels like we're getting our groove back at City College. And I really love that, right? So I invite you all to take a look at our college, walk around. It's not just a feeling, it really is a different college. Check out the new mural on the Makerspace building. It's beautiful. Check out the other part of campus where the natural sciences buildings are, the new buildings, the new corridor that's connecting our campus together. It's never been like this since I've worked here. So I'm super excited, and I hope that you guys take some time to explore the campus and encourage our students to also explore the campus. So I have to just say something about this fabulous young man that's standing up here emceeing. And I just wanted to say that Tellis was one of my first students when I first started working at City College. Okay, and he was not this person 5 years ago. He was definitely in there, but he was not this person. And I will say that I can't really take much credit for this transformation of this young man. I would say that it's because of everybody in this space, in this campus. This young man was in my office hours every day, okay? And he spent hours in my office hours. And I actually really needed that as a first my first semester teaching here. I needed that connection with him. I think that he probably felt like he needed my connection, but I also needed his connection. And sitting here watching him do his speech and be such a presence on the stage just really was emotional. It made me really proud to be a part of this community, because I know it wasn't just me, because he's made connections with so many people on campus. That's his spirit. And I just want to think about what he was saying in his speech in terms of us deepening our connection, deepening our commitment to our students, and being better just being better. So I often say, as an optimist that I am, oh, things could always be worse, but I'm changing that. Things can be better. But things aren't just going to be better on accident. We have to make them better. So I invite you guys to figure out ways to be better colleagues, be better educators, be better counselors, so that we can see this type of transformation with all of our students. So we are wrapping up our program, and we do have one more activity I'm inviting you all to. So we're going to do a high intensity equity discussion. Okay, it's a little short, I call it high intensity interval, right? You guys know those little short exercises that you do, like you don't have a lot of time, but you got to get it in. So we're going to be having a conversation in the Student Center. And I just want to invite everybody who wants to figure out ways to deepen their commitment to equity, be inspired by each other, to come to the Student Center. We're going to get started at 11:30. And you guys have a fabulous fall semester, okay? Oh, by the way, I just want to say thank you to Carla for stepping up and taking over as MC on a whim. You did your thing. You did great. Okay.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. All right. All right, so is everybody ready to get the semester started? Yeah. All right. Well, let's have a great semester, and we're gonna close out. Mic drop. We did it. What? All right, cool.